Hi, it's Erica here again. Today we're going to be talking about the mercy person. These are the strict, pliable ones. Mercy is one of the most familiar and most needed of all gifts. There's a lot of mercy people, and there's usually quite a few servers. And it's good because we need both these people around all the time. So with mercy, they have the motivation to discern embarrassment, hurt, anything that's not comfortable in a person, and any sort of distress. So they're full of compassion, pity, gentleness, forbearance, and they want to help people. They empathise with people, and they want to relieve their distress. So it's good to have a lot of these people around. They're very gentle-natured people, very quiet, although they chatter away in a group, you know, and so they're not quiet like a prophet insight is. It doesn't have words, but on one-on-one, you know, mercies will chatter away. They love fairy stories and small animals and cuddly pets and all that sort of thing. They often bring home stray animals and very soft-hearted people. Very feeling people. They're feeling people, and their feelings run very deep. So with exhorters, their feelings are all on the surface and they're here today, gone tomorrow. But with mercies, you might not see that they're upset or distressed about anything, but because their feelings are deep down inside. But they stay there quite a long time. But their discernment lies in they know who's trying to play on their sympathy, so they're very discerning in that, and they won't be hoodwinked or anything like that as far as people playing on their sympathy. Another way to tell with two quiet-natured people are the prophet insight and the mercies, and one way you can tell which is when you look in their eyes. The prophet insight sort of seems to look right through you, whereas a mercies have very gentle eyes, very distinctively gentle eyes. They're basically non-threatening, although they can be very strict in their own households because, you know, they're high in teaching, so they will train their children fairly strictly and be very conscientious about what they do. Their children always look neat and tidy and well dressed and have their clothes ironed and all those sort of things. In fact, mercies are the sort of people who will match the pegs on the clothesline and iron underwear and all that sort of thing. If you say to them, well, no one will see it, they'll say, yes, but I'll know. So they like everything done properly. They're very good at like counselling in a one-on-one situation, talking to their friends and that sort of thing. But they don't like being out the front. They don't like to be the centre of attention like exhorters do. The exhorters and mercies are both person-oriented, but exhorters have a very out there personality. They like to be at the front and the centre of attention, whereas mercies like to be in the background and very quiet. Mercies find it difficult to confront other people, but you can push them so far and then all of a sudden you get this steel backbone and they won't be pushed any further. But you have to be careful because if you keep pushing, you're likely to get them to, you know, fight back in a very aggressive way, and that's not good for anyone. So we don't keep pushing mercy people to make them do, you know, especially if you're an facilitator, it's easy to push them into doing things, but you know, they're going to resent that if you do that. Sometimes their desire for comfort, to comfort people, can spill over into the physical. So they like a really comfortable bed and their surroundings to be comfortable. Whereas Prophet Insight wouldn't even probably notice so much about their surroundings, whether they were comfortable or not, because they're more looking at people and people's hearts. Mercies can be very sentimental. If someone gives them a little toy or something they find that hard to ever part with, they'll be sentimental and keep things well into their adult years, all their little toys and things. And souvenirs, love animals, as I said, and likely to bring home strays. And not just animals, they bring home stray people too. They gravitate to people that others don't like and that sort of thing. They will look after them. You know, this gifting applies to men as well as women, and we often think soft and gentle is a feminine trait, but it actually isn't. You know, there's plenty of facilitator women who are quite hard, as well as mercy men. And so if we know a man who's a mercy, we need to encourage them, because the gift of compassion and mercy in a man is it's very strengthening to people who really need that in their lives. So, for a man to come and put their arm around someone and, you know, be sympathetic is very powerful, really. But because they have that soft, gentle nature, they're often mistaken as being gay, which is ridiculous, really, because, you know, soft and gentle is not a feminine characteristic. Now, I'm not saying there's no differences between men and women, of course there are, but it's mainly brain differences rather than motivational gift differences and feeling differences. So we need to recognise, it's very important to recognise that soft and gentle does not mean feminine. Either sex can be soft and gentle. Either sex can be hard and pushy and bossy. So that's nothing to do with, you know, what your sexual orientation is. Childhood characteristics of mercy people: quiet-natured but can be good talkers one-on-one, easily upset by loud noises and harsh commands. They prefer quiet surroundings. This is little children now I'm talking about. They're lovable, cuddly and smile a lot. Tend to be close to mother and father, very clingy little children. Daydreamers. It's hard for them to communicate their feelings because they run so deep. They like fairy tales and animal stories. They love animals, dolls and soft toys and don't like to part with them. These children are usually unable to stand up for themselves, even when they're right. And they gravitate towards children others don't like, easy to correct, but may only obey because of fear of rejection, and then be bitter towards those who cause them to obey. Usually followers and not leaders. The danger for mercy people is that they have too much compassion on themselves. Self-pity can be very destructive, and it must be carefully guarded against, you know. Being sorry for yourself is very destructive. So we need to be careful about that. They can tend to be indecisive. They procrastinate about making decisions. So that's, you know, one of the things they have to guard against. Their discernment area, sensing what people are feeling in an emotional sense, whether they're upset or embarrassed. You know, and if and exhorters up the front and teasing people, they get very upset that someone might be getting teased. But exhorters, their discernment lies in knowing who they can tease usually, but the mercies don't know that, and they tend to think, well, everyone will be hurt and embarrassed. But exhorters love to be teased because it makes them the centre of attention, basically. Okay, well, I hope you've found yourself, and if you haven't, grab a book, and there's more detail in there. Thanks. Bye.